Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the University of Virginia Law School faculty.
Welcome. Please join me in thanking the Massanutten Brass Quintet, which has provided our musical entertainment. Welcome to the graduates of the class of 2013, and welcome to the mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, friends, and relatives whose love and encouragement helped make today possible. The parents in the audience understand how your professors feel today. We are immensely proud of what you have achieved, excited about your future, but sad to see you go. I ask the graduates to stand and join me in a round of applause to honor and thank all of your parents. In August 2010, you walked into Kaplan Auditorium brimming with talent, motivation, and concern. I remarked to you then that we would be amazed at how quickly the next 3 years would pass, and they did pass quickly. You immersed yourselves in the study of a new and complex field. You welcomed intellectual challenges that awaited you, and you met them energetically. But you did not focus just on yourselves. You raised money and donated your time to countless important causes. Indeed, your engagement with this community and many others has been remarkable and noteworthy. The class of 2013 collectively put in more than 13,500 hours in pro bono activities and assistance of those who could not afford legal representation. Over 93 of you met the pro bono challenge by performing 75 or more hours of pro bono service while in law school. This is a record for any class in the history of the law school. You continued traditions of supporting the Charlottesville community. The UVA Law Public Service Day initiative celebrated its 4th year this past fall. The North Grounds Softball League's 30th annual invitational drew 1,500 law students from all over the country to Charlottesville, and in the process raised $20,000 for the local nonprofit Children, Youth, and Family Services. Under your leadership, UVA law students participated in the Alternative Spring Break program, in which students forego a week on the beach in order to contribute their time and expertise to those in need of legal services. This year, students traveled to New Orleans, New York City, Tucson, and a little closer to home, Richmond and Alexandria, to offer your help and services. Through the Public Interest Law Association, you helped make it possible for some of your classmates to take unpaid or low-paid public interest employment during the summer. This year's PILA auction raised over $68,000 for public service summer grants. 23 of you participated in the law school's 2-year program in law and public service. Under your leadership, our 10 student-run journals published a total of 34 issues, including the inaugural issue of our newest journal, the Virginia Journal of Criminal Law. Your classmates organized and hosted events featuring legal scholars, practitioners, and judges. Members of your class represented the law school at the university's Entrepreneurship Cup, an annual business concept competition. And members of your class helped form the Molly Pitcher Project, which advocated for women who wish to participate and be assigned in ground combat units, a right they now have. 2 of you made an appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show, or so I'm told. Your class has dealt with challenges with grace, perseverance, and poise. You lived through an earthquake, studied through the transformation of the south end of Slaughter Hall into the new Karsh Student Services Center, and even made honey out of honeybees. On a more somber note, you dealt with the loss of your classmate and friend, Mamina Chima. I'd like to ask you to pause for a moment in remembrance of her. Most importantly, you have acquired a powerful new set of skills, the lawyer's ability to analyze and express ideas with clarity and precision. These skills are the primary stock in trade of a practicing lawyer, but they are much more than that. Anyone who has observed a well-trained lawyer's talent for solving problems and zeroing in on the most important issue or facts will not find it at all surprising that the President of the United States, the Secretary of State, almost a third of the members of Congress, the CEOs of 15 of the nation's 100 largest companies, countless entrepreneurs, and even the commissioners of the NBA, the NHL, and the PGA are lawyers. You are trained to be leaders, and you will be in your careers, in your communities, and in some cases in elected or appointed government service. I have no doubt that at some future reunion of the class of 2013, the most diverse class in the law school's history, we will all celebrate the many ways you have succeeded in the intervening years. Your school is proud of you and confident in your future. It has been a true pleasure for those of us on stage to watch you grow intellectually and personally. We send you on your way today with our complete admiration, affection, and most of all, our congratulations. Alex Aurisch, your student body president, will introduce our speaker. Alex received a bachelor's degree in 2007 from Rice University, where she majored in psychology. Alex has contributed to the vitality of the law school through her work with the Student Bar Association, the Health Law Association, and the Virginia Law Women. She is also a co-chair for this year's class gift. It has been a pleasure to work with her this past year. Alex.
Good afternoon. As president of the Student Bar Association over the past year, I have the privilege of making a few remarks about our time here today. But perhaps more importantly, as a fellow graduate today, I have an interest in making those remarks as brief as possible. Of the people on stage today, I also have the easiest task, since I actually have no responsibility to leave you with any advice whatsoever about the future, and the only name I have to pronounce correctly is Bill Nelson. So first, I am proud to announce the class of 2013's graduation gift. Each year, the graduating class presents a gift of future support to the law school, and this year, an extraordinary 87% of the class of 2013, which is 319 students, participated in the pledge. Thank you to all of you who donated and made such a generous gift possible. And a special thank you to my class gift co-chairs Esther Winnie and Megan Kao, and to all of our class agents who spent several months organizing the gift. From a broader perspective, supporting the law school is more accurately a commitment to the future classes of UVA Law so that they will share the same experiences we've had here. But rather than to list some of those experiences, I'd like to comment on what I think we'll remember the most, the people. On behalf of all the students, I'd like to thank our professors, the administration, and the staff for making our time here so memorable and usually easier. But most of the time we spent here, we spent with each other. My classmate Carl Herman probably said it best. Every person I met at UVA Law has been incredibly talented, and more importantly, has exemplified a trait that I wish I had. I am grateful for everything I learned from my classmates, especially in how to become a better person. Of course, another fellow classmate simply said, "It's been real." What sets UVA Law apart from other law schools also becomes our biggest challenge after graduation. This community that thrived in Charlottesville now disperses, and we now have to find a way of keeping that sense of community and what it means to be a UVA Law graduate wherever we go. If that sounds at all profound to you, it's because Professor Caleb Nelson actually mentioned this in his speech to us in April. I now have the honor of introducing a member of our own UVA Law community, alumnus Senator Bill Nelson. After graduating from Yale University and UVA Law, Senator Nelson began his career in public service in 1972 with his election to the Florida House of Representatives. He served there for 6 years and then served in the United States House of Representatives from 1978 to 1990. There, Senator Nelson served on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee and helped obtain crucial funding for the nation's space program. During that time, he flew to space on the Space Shuttle Columbia and spent 6 days orbiting the Earth, proving that the adage, "the sky's the limit," is actually rather an unambitious goal for UVA Law graduates. It was also on this trip that he took part of the UVA Law community with him, taking a pennant from the University of Virginia along on the flight and giving it back to the president of the University of Virginia sometime later. After his time in the U.S. House of Representatives, Senator Nelson was then elected to the Florida Cabinet, where he served as Treasurer, Insurance Commissioner, and Fire Marshal of Florida for 6 years. He left this position in 2000 to begin serving on the United States Senate. Among other causes, Senator Nelson has been a champion for the environment and a strong consumer advocate. Throughout his career, Senator Nelson has earned a reputation as a centrist devoted to finding middle ground, something that resonates with UVA Law students, especially with one of the closest presidential races in the not-so-distant past. He has exemplified Thomas Jefferson's dedication to public service by devoting his career to serving his community, his state, and his country. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Senator Bill Nelson.
It is a privilege for me to return from whence I came, and congratulations for this very significant accomplishment in your lives. I know how important this is to each of you, for your families and your friends, and having reached this milestone, now you only have to look forward to taking the bar exam. Each of you departing this institution, you have a quality education. But perhaps a more important reflection on the school and its students is what the dean just said, how you've given thousands of hours of pro bono legal services to the less fortunate. I commend you for this record of public service. It was 45 years ago here in Charlottesville that I received my degree. But later, when I flew on the space shuttle, The only thing NASA did not include in my biography was the fact that I was the first lawyer to fly in space. I guess that says something about the popularity or the lack thereof of our profession, which is what I want to talk to you today about. Now, I realize that I'm the only thing between you and your degree, so I will be mercifully short. I want to concentrate today on something of considerable importance but is often overlooked: professional ethics, and how you can bring certain values into your practice of law. Now, we live in a society today that every day you pick up the newspaper, you see that there is an abundance of arrogance. You see that displayed in the political cauldron and the lack of willingness to come together and to build consensus. You see the ideological rigidity. You see the excessive partisanship. You see the lack of civility. And of course, those of you who took constitutional law recognize that the great underpinnings of this constitutional government, of necessity, you have to respect the other fellow's point of view different from yours, and then you try to work out your differences. And we've suffered through a time of much too gridlock. You also see in this era of abundance of arrogance sometimes a confusion between right and wrong. You may see that on Wall Street from time to time. We certainly saw that with Bernie Madoff. But we also see that daily in the examples that are coming out of the Department of Defense, sometime with those who have command over in the chain of command without clamping down on the sexual assault that has occurred in the military. And in the long-time war over legal ethics, a series of skirmishes have left our profession with as many wounds as ever. An example, front page headline in the Times, New York Times a few years ago, declared that lawyers are facing more and more corruption complaints. Certainly tempted by the economic expectation of the high-octane 1990s, as well as hindered by the sluggish reality of the past decade, more and more lawyers were stealing larger sums of money from their clients, according to those who monitor that kind of conduct. And the legal profession is not alone, of course. Yesterday's Times warned, corruption is a growth business, end of quote, noting that business leaders worldwide say that 20% of their businesses cook the books, understate expenses, or overstate revenue. In a speech delivered to business, political, and civic leaders, the late U.S. Supreme Court Justice Harry Blackmun told about the time that he talked to young lawyers. The soft-spoken Blackmun said that he told these young lawyers that American society has functioned in large measure for more than 2 centuries because of a few great guiding principles, and these are spelled out in the Constitution. He said he also told them about the key role that our profession plays, especially when it comes to practicing and applying these principles in everyday life. And if he were alive and still with us today, he would caution all of you. The profession is being sullied by an increasing number of lawyers facing ethics and corruption complaints. Blackman used to say, as he watched over the years, he used to say, the public trust in the legal profession has plummeted to a point that public opinion, of course, ranked lawyers' ethics about even with those of used car salesmen. And yet, besides these high-profile cases involving this kind of corruption, there lies a wide range of ethical issues that soon each of you are going to have to decide for yourselves. Consider these scenarios. If you were the corporate attorney for the international firm that's cooking the books, will you sign the annual statement? Or consider a young lawyer in Richmond is offered an incentive bonus of 20% of the amount he saves a corporation on state and federal taxes. Should he accept the payment? A Virginia state senator is told by the head of a powerful special interest group that strings can be pulled to get the politician's underachieving son into law school. Unspoken but acknowledged is whether the senator must vote the company's way on an upcoming bill. Should the lawyer for the corporation make such an offer? Or consider this in Washington. A lawyer for a mid-sized firm opens her mail one morning to find a rather expensive diamond necklace from a client with a note thanking her for winning a recent case. Should she accept the gift? Former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor cited with alarm a Florida bar study that showed lawyers were mailing hundreds of thousands of direct solicitations to accident victims each year. Will you be mailing such solicitations? And Warren Burger, the former Chief Justice, in a speech in Tennessee denounced the outrageous breach of professional conduct we see in huckster advertising. Perhaps Justice Burger said sternly, huckster is not a strong enough word. Well, what do all of these scenarios have in common? Officials of the American Bar Association would say, they require in each case, despite the nuances, your ethical judgment, decisions that you're going to have to make. A study by one state bar attributes an increase in ethical lapses by lawyers partly due to the shrunken economic opportunities. But you can't really use that as an excuse now because the economy is beginning to come back. In his speech, Burger observed wistfully that at one time, the so-called learned professions, the church, medicine, and the law, were considered more than mere trades to be advertised in television come-ons, tacky billboards, or letters to accident victims soliciting their business. Blackman, Burger, O'Connor. Each of these justices tells you what you must come to grips with. The high-minded elements of a life in the law, this is what's practical, must coexist with the practical need to make a living. And still, each of you has a very special calling in life, And that's why you must be rooted in the law and public service and must consider the ethical obligations that extend to the broader system beyond your office walls. So clearly you're not going to be able to change the recent past, but if you are determined, you can rewrite the near future. You can help restore the legal profession to its rightful place of honor in the public's eye. And so I ask you to keep in mind the words of Mahatma Gandhi. It was Gandhi who said that there are but 7 sins in life: wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humility, worship without sacrifice, and politics without principle. And we could add one more here today: law without ethics. And if indeed this were a sin, then our saving grace would be to always strive to bring basic moral values to the practice of law. You're well on your way. Congratulations on this significant achievement, and God bless you on your journey.
One of the most enjoyable parts of this ceremony is the opportunity to recognize some of those who have contributed so much to the law school and the community over the past 3 years. The awards to be presented today to members of the class of 2013 are described briefly in the back of your program. Listed there are honors and awards already conferred on members of the graduating class. The award recipients we honor today have not been previously so recognized. Indeed, most will not have been aware of their selection before I call their names. If your name is called, please stand to be recognized. Recipients will be presented the awards themselves as they cross the stage to receive their diplomas. The Virginia State Bar Family Law Book Award, established by the Family Law section of the Virginia State Bar and the Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, and presented to the graduating student who has demonstrated the most promise and potential for the practice of family law. The 2013 recipient was senior editor of the Virginia Journal of International Law, Christina Ashey Guidry. Virginia Trial Lawyers Association Trial Advocacy Award, presented to a graduate who shows particular promise in the field of trial advocacy. The 2013 recipient was on the editorial board of the Virginia Law Review, Wade Alexander Gelbert. The John M. Olin Prize in Law and Economics, presented on behalf of the Olin Program to a student who has produced outstanding written work in the field of law and economics. The 2013 recipient receives the award for his paper, Probative Inference from Phenomenal Coincidence, Demystifying the Doctrine of Chances, and has a PhD in economics from the university, Sean Patrick Sullivan. The Earl K. Shaw Labor Relations Award, established by Mr. Shaw, class of 1934, and presented to the graduate who shows the greatest promise in the field of labor relations. The 2013 recipient was on the senior editorial board of the Virginia Tax Review, Mary Guinevere Aguilar. The Edwin S. Cohen Tax Prize, established by the late Professor Cohen and presented to the graduate who has demonstrated superior scholarship in the tax field. The 2013 recipient was on the senior editorial board of the Virginia Tax Review, Matthew James Holt. The Mortimer Kaplan Public Service Award, established by Mr. Kaplan, class of 1940, who has long been associated with the law faculty and the law school, and presented to a graduate entering a career in the public service sector who demonstrates the qualities of leadership, integrity, and service to others. The 2013 recipient was on the editorial board of the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law and on the board of the Public Interest Law Association, Rebecca Seidman Cohen. The Herbert Kramer Herbert Bangle Community Service Award, established by the late Mr. Kramer, class of 1952, and presented to the graduate who has contributed the most to the community during his or her time in law school. The 2013 recipient was on the editorial board of the Virginia Law Review and is the recipient of the law school's Powell Fellowship in Legal Services, Kimberly Ann Rolla. The Roger and Madeline Traynor Prize, established by the late Chief Justice Traynor and his wife, and presented to two graduates who have produced outstanding written work. The first recipient of the 2013 Traynor Prize receives it for his paper, Filling the Unhelpful Silence, How the Deposit Insurance Provision of the Glass-Steagall Act Transformed the American Banking System, and was on the senior editorial board of the Virginia Law and Business Review, Jacob Harris Gutwilling. The second recipient of the 2013 Traynor Prize receives it for his paper, A Response to Chicago Railway, Minnesota Farmers' Fight for Lower Railroad Rates in the 1890s, and was articles editor of the Virginia Law Review, Matthew Paul Jobe. The Robert E. Goldston Award for Distinction in the Classroom, established by Mr. Goldston, class of 1940, and presented by vote of the faculty to the graduate who has contributed the most to classroom education by his or her outstanding recitation and discussion. The 2013 recipient was Articles Development Editor of the Virginia Tax Review, Jonathan Daniel Urich. The Law School Alumni Association Best Note Award, presented to the member of the graduating class who authored the best note in a current volume of a law school publication. The 2013 recipient receives it for his note examining the conflict between municipal receivership and local autonomy, and was on the editorial board of the Virginia Law Review and a winning team member in the Lyle Moot Court competition, Lyle David Kosis. The Law School Alumni Association Award for Academic Excellence is presented to the graduate with the highest academic record after 6 semesters and will be presented this fall. The Thomas Marshall Miller Prize, established by Emily Miller Danton in honor of her father who attended the law school and presented by vote of the faculty to an outstanding and deserving member of the graduating class. The 2013 recipient of the Miller Prize is also the recipient of the Eppa Hunton IV Memorial Book Award, given by the Associates of the Richmond law firm of Hunton & Williams in honor of the late Mr. Hunton, class of 1927, and presented to a graduate who demonstrates unusual aptitude in courses in the field of litigation and who shows a keen awareness and understanding of the lawyer's ethical and professional responsibility. The 2013 recipient of the Miller Prize and the Eppa Hunton Award was notes editor of the Virginia Law Review, Megan Marie Coker. The James C. Slaughter Honor Award, established in honor of the late Mr. Slaughter, class of 1951, and presented by vote of the faculty to an outstanding member of the graduating class. The 2013 recipient was a Ritter Scholar and managing editor of the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law, Ariel Marissa Linnett. Unfortunately, Ms. Linnett is unable to be with us today. The Margaret G. Hyde Award, established by the late Forrest J. Hyde, Jr. from the class of 1915 and presented by vote of the faculty to the graduate whose scholarship, character, personality, activities in the affairs of the school, and promise of achievement have entitled him or her to special recognition. The recipient of the Hyde Award is also the recipient of the Z Society Shannon Award, presented to the graduate with the highest academic record after 5 semesters. The 2013 recipient of the Hyde Award and the Shannon Award was articles editor of the Virginia Law Review, Galen Bundy Bascom. Before presenting the diplomas, I have the happy duty of informing you that Patricia Merrill, a graduate of the class of 1992 and the president of the Law School Alumni Council, will be stationed at the end of the stage to my left to present to each graduate on behalf of the Alumni Association a memento of the law school. We will now prepare the stage for the presentation of diplomas.
I will now call the roll of the graduates for the presentation of diplomas. For the degree of Juris Doctor, Julia Abulev. Ogechi Achuka. Mary Genevieve Aguilar. John Warren Aiken. James Stephen Allred. Paige Corbin Anderson. Priscilla Ochu Artus. Joseph Patrick Ashbrook. Alexandra Caroline Aurisch. Todd Matthew Baker. Daniel Barden. Valerie K. Barker. Jillian Ann Barkins. John Barlow. Timothy Randolph Barr. Galen Bundy Bascom. Catherine Michelle Bastian. Stephanie Lynn Beach. Sirisha Bendapudi. Neil Bernardo. Patrick John Bernhardt. Amit Singh Bhatti. Lauren Kroll Bingham. Jonathan Clayton Black. Joseph Grant Blackwell. Nicholas Charles Bloom. Sarah Brooke Bosse. Michael Keith Bradshaw, Jr. Sarah Ann Brubaker. Maxwell Avery Breyer. Duncan George Burke. Amy Waterman Bird. Chet Donald Campbell. Esther Rose Cantor. Shruthe Chagenti. Mercy Changwesha. Heaven Chanel Chi. Elisa Wen Ying Chen. Sarah Elizabeth Childress. Turn the wrong page. Christina Chike Cho. Michael John Sereno. Teresa S. Clark. Tyler Sherwood Clarkson. Rebecca Seidman Cohen. Megan Marie Coker. Jared Phillips Cole. David Matthew Colquitt. Matthew Allen Colvin. Chelsea Lynn Conanan. Chase Johnson Cooper. Carmen Francesca Corallo. Alex David Corey. Catherine Hannah Craig. London Cameron Crounce. John Michael Cunningham IV. Rebecca Barrett Dalton. Virginia Elaine Davis. Avery Francis Dawkins. Michael Scott Dawkins. Michelle Teresa de la Guardia. Lucas Edward Deloach. Mary Lucille Dinkins. Scott Michael Dinner. Rishi Mohan Diwan. Elizabeth Casey Dobbins. Dane Adam Dodd. Brittany Mel Dorman. Ellen Grace Dorston. Jimmy Dew. Billy James Easley. Jeremiah Armstrong Egger. Daniel Alexander Evans. Aida Dolores Fitzgerald. Paige Elisa Foster. Erin Jessica Frake. Nicole Marie Frank. Noah Frank. Melissa Helene Frankel. Elizabeth Calvert Freeman. Keith Bernard French, Jr. Scott Davis Gallistorfer. Joseph Anthony Gamella. Trevor Thornton Garmy. Andrew Duffield Garahan. Wade Alexander Gelbert. Gregory Seth Gellert. Jeff Albert George. Jonathan Grover Geeson. Matthew Christopher Gill. Emily Ann Glazer. Jeffrey Allen Glass. Matthew James Glover. Mark Slaughter Goodrich. David Warren Gazulas. Ellie Solomon Greenbaum. Kathleen Taylor Greenstreet. Megan Elizabeth Griffin. Sarah Cook Griffiths. Aaron John Alexander Griskevich. Christina Ashley Gidry. Zachary A. Gutterman. Jacob Harris Gutwillig. Jonathan David Gwynn. Emma Diamond Hall. William Johnson Halliday. Andrew Spencer Hansbrough. Melissa Marjorie Harklerode. Laura Marie Haskins. Helen O'Byrne Hardiman. Christopher Anthony Hatfield. James Byron Hatton. Gregory Neil Heinen. Sarah Allison Hemmendinger. Lindsay Elizabeth Mitchell Henner. Carl Richard Hennis. Benjamin Neil Harriet. Jessica Ann Herlihy. Carl Edward Herman. Rachel Margaret High. Peter Vincent Hilton. Gabriel Emmanuel Hippolyte. David Sutton Hirschler. Nathan Lloyd Hittle. Matthew James Holt. Daniel Carl Homer. Ariel Eliza Hopkins. Kendall Madison Howes. Sherry Shu. Monvan Hu. Christopher Hunt. Alfred Jonathan Jackson. Nicole Marie Jackson. Emily Delane Jennings. Laura Nell Jensen. Matthew Paul Job. Daniel Kenneth Johnson. Mark Lloyd Johnson. Jessica Lois Jones. Megan Mieko Kao. Jason William Keating. Anna Marie Kelly. Ha Un Kim. Matthew Ryan Kimberlin. Natalie Newall Kizu. Jessica Leslie Klein. Alec George Knight. Lyle David Kosis. Peter Jacob Kozakchuk. Alexander Chase Kruger Wyman. Alyssa Blair Kuhn. Seyun Angela Kwan. Theodore Druce Kwong. Benjamin Paul Kyber. Lauren Noel Lamontagne. Bonnie Jean Luttrell. Gerard Julian Lawrence. Han Q. Lee. Jane Lee. Daniel Patrick Lemke. Jessica Lee Lennon. Aaron Charles Lerner. Denise Mary Latender. Kyle Andrew Levin. Mark Harrison Llewellyn. Natasha Shantae Lewis. Temitope Olamide Leimo. Ross Anthony Lemer. S.J. Lim. Joseph Daniel Lockinger. Najla Takrim Long. Elena Gabriela Longa. Bryce R. Lauder. David Keeler Ludwig. Kelly Ann Lubin. Catherine Liu. Belinda Ann Liu. Jason Singh Mon. Gloria Hingwan Mack. Waqas Allah Malik. Kyle Christopher Malinak. Heather Helena Marshall. Hugh Callaway Martin. Kyle Alexander Martin. Tyler Andrew Massey. Nicholas Theodore Matich. Michelle Berta Matthews. Louis James Matthews. Cassandra Ann Maximus. Warren Joseph McCarty III. Stuart Seats McComas. Megan Elizabeth McFadden. Alexa Marie McGonigal. Jason Scott McManus. Emily Ford Melson. Philip James Messier. Prescott Ryan Messier. Seth Adam Meyer. Jordan Miller. Shaheen Shams Malavi. Miller is not here. Arian Mosanazada. Ryan Oakson Mowry. Patrick Joseph Mulligan. Lance Yukio Murashige. Andrew Michael Weishart Mutter. Kimberly Fawn Myers. Roma Nandwani. David Forbes Nybert. Vanessa Sava Nickerson. Jason Paul Norinsky. Kennard Lamont Noyes. Julia Ard O'Halloran. Caitlin Michaela O'Hearn. Essay Juliet Okuma. Anthony James Oley, Jr. Jacob Stalvey O'Neill. Scott John Outhouston. Hudson James Overcash. David Mitchell Parker. Tiffany Ruth Parrott. Liam Joseph Paskvan. Lauren Marie Painter. James Hamilton Percival II. Sarah Kathleen Pergolesi. Donovan Lloyd Powell, Jr. Haley Elizabeth Proctor. Benjamin Charles Pulliam. Michelle Louise Purdy. Kelly Ann Quinn. Julian Nawel Radzinski. Tiffany Parrish Rainbolt. Archith Ramkumar. Nigel Gordon Ray. Austin Lewis Raynor. Sarika Elizabeth Rubin. Emily Kirsten Rick. Jennifer Maury Riggin. Mary Frances Ritten. Christina Roach. Patrick Lloyd Robbins. Cynthia Alexandra Rodriguez. Jennifer Angela Rodriguez. Benjamin Joseph Rogan. David Kyle Rolek. Kimberly Ann Rolla. Juan David Rosales. Daniel Evan Rosinski. Aaron Sanders Ross. Cassie Myatt Ross. Megan Alexandra Royal. James William Russell. Stephen David Ryan. Caroline Siobhan Ryan. Keith John Sado. Catherine Elizabeth Saltz. Roseanne Marie Sangiacomo. Christopher Joseph Santoli. Joseph Michael Schaffner. Julie Michelle Schiff. I know, it's not there.
Sarah Santos?
Yeah.
How about Sarah Santos?
Sarah Santos is not here. Right. Julie Michelle Schiff. John Edward Schiltz. Lynn Christina Schley. Gregory Lee Schneider. Frederick Henderson Schutt. Nina Miriam Schwartz. Matthew James Shui. David Alden Seal. Keiko Seno. Richard Eric Shelton. Georgina Claire Shepard. Joseph Lewis Sheridan. Louis Thomas Chernisky. James Richard Sherwood. Yang Ho Charles Shin. Theodore Donald Shum. Emerson Arthur Siegel. Thomas Samuel Silverstein. Ilana Beth Sinkin. El Servaitita. Austin Daniel Smith. Garrick Chase Smith. Laura Charlotte Smith. Stefan John Sovinsky. Joel Robert Spencer. John Landon Spillman. Benita Ebony Stenterford. John Welling Stewart. William Fuller Stoddard. S. Quincy Stott. Andrew Lee Stotts. Benjamin Fletcher Sturgeon. Sally Jean Sullivan. Levi William Swank. Naomi Elizabeth Takaji. Masathio Theodore Takogang. Jonathan Andy Tang. Dana Lauren Tapper. Adam James Templeton. William Scott Terrell III. Robert Joseph Thurlow. Taylor Wayne Tibbetts. Joseph Andrew Tootle. Elizabeth Chen-Yi Tuan. Monica Catherine Tuck. Gregory Anshin Tung. Natalie Ann Turner. Rebecca Diane Turner. Catherine Keeley Tyson. Anthony Chuka Ugwoju. Jonathan Daniel Urick. Brett Chapin Urig. Ruju Vasavada. Kathleen Arvilla Villa. Firas Bawan Vin. Catherine Peacock Voris. Jasmine Nicole Wade. Gavin Conant Waite. Annie E. Wong. Marley Jean Waxelbaum. Derek Evan Wetmore. Alexis Joy Wires. Andrew James Weymouth. Casey Lynn White. Chelsea Alexandria Whitler. John Andrew Wickham. Shalana Natasha Williams. Jonathan Wesley Williams. Philip Daniel Williamson. Esther Jean Winnie. Sarah Catherine Withers. Ryan Richard Waisner. Joseph Coleman Wamwell. Brian Michael Watring. Michael Leron Wu. Jenny Shia. Sholi Ying. Eric Yoon. Thomas Benton York. Adam John Yost. Jonathan Michael Young. Catherine Ann Young. Sue-Ann Yu. Jonathan Young. Nellie Saltzman. Nicholas Anthony Zemmel. Brigitta Elizabeth Loning Eichner. Hannah Na. Jason Anthony Pan. Brian Jisoo Yang. For the degree of Master of Laws, Rebecca Kayan Aguado. Chen Chung. Fernando Costa Neto. Emily Dehaan. Julio Cesar Dominguez de Faria. Dean Francis Fernandez. Yusheng Fu. Matthew Aiden Grogan. Mi Young Melinda Han. Deborah Hannon. Ana Maria Ibarra Olguin. Natsuko Ishikawa. Kai Isoyama. Kimiko Isoyama. Hirt Jacobs. Heiwan Jin. Not here. Takashi Kimura. Hirofumi Kozume. Fansu Ku. Chokyu Lee. Wesley Lepla. Adeline Tiranran Liu. Layli Monferred. Catherine Ann Moore. Juan Francisco Moreno Cupas. Yoshihiro Morisato. Friedrich Ostendorf. Charlotte Powie. Alexander Neil Pickens. Sebastian Christian Ruiz Palmer. Christopher David Sprado. Mokoyuki Takahashi. Tomokazu Usagawa. Sebastian Valencia. Evelyn von Ramdonk. Excuse me. Michiel van Roy. Herman Vargas Dominguez. Juan Ignacio Volpini. Shia. Yuki Yamamoto. Mi Zhang. Xing Zhang. Inoa Zhang. For the degree of Doctor of Juridical Science, Haryo Budi Nugroho. This concludes the calling of the roll of the graduates.
Today, you join more than 16,000 Virginia law graduates who have gone before you. Most of those graduates remain actively involved with the law school, and we hope you will as well. In any given year, over 1,000 of them return to this building. They come to teach as adjuncts or short course instructors, to judge first-year oral arguments or moot court competitions, to speak to student groups, to help select the recipients of scholarships, awards, and prizes, to participate in the governance of the law school through service on the Law School Foundation Board of Trustees and the Alumni Council. They come, of course, to recruit students for their law firms and other organizations. They return in great numbers for their reunions, and some have the great pleasure to return to see their children graduate from the law school. We hope to see you often, and we hope that you will always feel as much a part of the Virginia law family as you have over the past 3 years, and will take pride and pleasure in your association with the law school and the class of 2013. This concludes the ceremony, but there is a reception waiting for us inside, and you are cordially invited to linger for a bit and wait out the traffic. Farewell and safe travels.